Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I'll be discussing about pagination and sorting in Spring Boot. So what is pagination and what is sorting? Why do we use pagination? When to use pagination? I'll be discussing in this video in detail. So you can see on my screen the definition of pagination is it is a process of dividing a large set of data into a smaller set so that data can be managed efficiently. Instead of loading all data at once, you load only a part of it. If I say one page at a time. And how we are going to implement this pagination is by using two parameters. The first parameter is page number and second parameter is page size. So page number is nothing but it shows that which page to show, and page size is the number of item per page. So how many records you want to fetch per page, that we will see when we see in the demo. And the second concept here is sorting. So what is sorting? So sorting is the process of arranging data in a specific order, mainly based on one or more field. So this can be done in again two ways. One is ascending, another one is descending. When we say it is ascending order, it means that the order of the data will be from smallest to largest, and when we say it is descending, the data will be from largest to smallest. Now, why pagination and sorting? Like, why do we need this pagination and sorting in any of the project? Because when you have a huge number of records or huge number of data, you will have performance issue. And when you load all the data at once, it will take more time to load the data. So to overcome those to overcome this type of issue, we need pagination and sorting. So first, it helps you to improve the performance optimization, and it prevent data overload on client, because you will be sending data based on page and page size. So client side you will not have overloaded data. It also improves user experience, especially in UI when you have data showing in table and list. It also enable efficient API response for large data set. So your API will perform better if you have pagination and sorting implemented. So this is why we need pagination and sorting. So this was all about the theory. If you have any doubt or if you have any queries on the pagination and sorting, let me know in the comment section. I'll be happy to help you out. So now let's see how do we implement this in Spring Boot project. So I'll be giving you a step-by-step process in detail, like how to implement this pagination and sorting in a Spring Boot project. So are you ready? Let's get started. So here I have a Spring Boot project, and you can see that this is the folder structure of the Spring Boot project. I have controller, I have service, I have repository, I have model, and I have exception. So these are the folder structure, and then I can show you application.properties where I have all the configuration written for the database. So I'll guide you step by step process in order to implement this pagination and sorting. So I have written a APIs. Let me explain like what is the scenario here. So I have user data. So let's say you have a huge number of records in the database and you want to send that data to the client. And when you have a huge amount of data, your API is taking more time to load those data, so that in the client side it is taking more time to get the response from the API, and the page in the client side is taking more time to load because API response is not successful, so the page is not loading. It is taking more time because it is waiting for the API to give you the response, but since there is a huge amount of data, it is taking more time to load. So to improve that API performance, this pagination is implemented, and so that it loads the data on the page size and page number. So these are the two parameters that we need in order to implement the pagination. And to implement the sorting, we have another two parameters, that is sort by and direction. So sort by is nothing but by which field you want to sort, and direction is nothing but you want to sort the data based on ascending or descending. So now let's see, there is a API which gets this user data and it sends to the client side, and these parameters like page size and sort by and direction are request param passed to the API. So let me explain that API, and I will also explain about the database. Like I am using here PostgreSQL database, and the configuration that I have already shown here in the application.properties. I have given this URL of the database, username, password, and driver, and then these are the few Hibernate configuration in order to show the query and to create that table in the database. So let me go to database now. So here you see I have this database. This is pgadmin, that is the interface for PostgreSQL, and here you can see that I have a table called users, and let me execute this query. So here we have this user data. So you consider that this user data is in huge number of records, and that we want to fetch from that API and send it to the client side. So I'll be fetching this data based on the pagination and sorting. So let me go back to the API. So here you can see that this is the API. This is a get mapping, get method that takes this variable as a request param, page size, sort by, and direction. And when we don't pass this value from the client side, it will take the default value and return the response. So default value for page is 0, and default value for size I am passing is 5, and I want my data to be sorted by ID by default, and it will be sorted in ascending order by default. So these are the four parameters we need in order to implement that pagination and sorting. So there is a method called get users in service. So let me go to that method, and here you see we are deciding that sort parameters based on the direction passed. So if direction passed is descending, it will sort based on descending. If it is not descending, then it will sort based on ascending. Then we are making this object of pageable, so we are passing this page size and sort. So once we have the object of pageable, we will be calling this findAll method with the pageable as a parameter to findAll method, so that it will go to the database, and based on the parameters it will get the data and return you the page user. So this findAll method returns the users data of page, but I want to send the data with the custom response. So I have a user response class where I have created a custom response for the client side, where I am having that list of users, current page, total number of pages, total elements, and page size. So this is going to be my response. So once I have this user data, I'm just setting those users data into my user page response. So first parameter is user page dot get content, that will give you the list of user data, and then I'm passing this number, then total pages, total elements, and size. So now go back to controller, and this will return from the service, and this will return the user response to the client. So this is the API implementation. Now let's see, I'll run this project, and we'll see that the implementation which we have done for the sorting and pagination is working as expected or not. So let me run this project. So project started and this is running on by default port 8080. So the project is running now. Now let's go back to Postman to test the API. So here is the API. I have already created the users data, so I'll not be creating, which I have already shown you in the database. So here you see I have this number of records. So I have enough records in the database to show you the demo. So let me go back to Postman, and API is this. So this is get API, and you can see the URL of the API where I am passing those parameters: page, page size, sort by, and direction. So page by default here is 0, but I can make a change in that if you want. And size is 20, so let me give you the size of 10, or I'll give 5. I'm sorting by name and direction I'm passing as descending. So let me call this API, and here you can see the data which I got is the list of users data, and then we have this metadata which is current page, total element, and page size. So now let me play around with the parameters which are passing, because if you don't pass the parameters from the API, it should take the default value. So for now I have passed page size is 5. So here you can see the number of record is 5 per page. So first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So page size will decide you the number of records per page. So for page 0, the size or the number of records is 5. So let's say I will make page is 1, and just to give you the demo I'll just make the size 1. So it should return you only one record. So let me call this API, and here you see you get only one record because we are passing size is 1 for the page 1. So current page you can see here also this is 1, and we are passing 1 as a page here in the API URL. So it is returning only one data because we passed size is equal to 1. If I make size is equal to 2, it will get 2 record here. So you can see that now I can see 2 records, ID is 16 and ID is 17. So this is working, pagination is working as expected. Now I'll show you sorting whether it is working or not. So now I am sorting based on the name, and we are passing direction is ascending. So it is sorting based on name, and direction we are passing descending. So let's see, I have made change to the page and the size is equal to 3, and let's see what is the response now. So here you see I get these 3 records, and these records are sort based on the names, and it is in descending order. So if I make a change this direction to ascending, now you see with the same records the order will be different. So let me make a call. Now you see the order is different. Earlier the records were different and the order was different. Now you see it is different. So it is working as expected, but this was when you pass this data from the client side. But let's say I will not pass the data from the client side, so I'm not passing anything. Now let's see what happens. Now I am not passing any parameters from the client side. So let's see how the API behaves. Let me make a call to API, and now you can see in the response I am getting 5 records. And how did I get these 5 records? This is because I have given the default value in the code. So default value is 5 per page, so I am getting 5 record in this response. Let me go to the API where I can show you that what is the default value. So you see default value is 0 and default value for size is 5 and for sort it is ID and direction is ascending. So it is sorting based on the ID. So you will see it is in ascending order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll just change this ID in the code. Let me make this descending and let me rerun the application and let's see that whether that API is response is changed or not. So now the application is up and see that now it was on the ascending order, but I have made a change. By default it should be in descending order. So let me make a call to API again, and here you see now the ID is from 17 because this is returning based on the descending order of ID. So here the it is in descending order. So sorting is working as expected. This is how pagination and sorting is implemented in a Spring Boot project. And I hope that I was able to make you understand end to end how to implement this pagination and sorting in a Spring Boot project. In case you have any query regarding what is pagination and sorting and how to implement this in Spring Boot project, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.